You've probably heard that today's domesticated dog breeds all descended from wild wolves. In fact, over 99.9% of dog DNA is identical to wolves. Looking at your dog cuddle, play, or just generally be a goofball, it's pretty hard to imagine that their closest relatives are gray wolves. So what went down thousands of years ago that turned hardened, aggressive hunters into golden retrievers, Pomeranians, and pugs? Welcome to Pet Spotlight, where today we're putting the spotlight on some of the science and history behind the evolution of wolves into dogs. Dogs share an incredibly close genetic relationship with gray wolves. This is because all domestic dog breeds descended from a single ancestral wolf population. Researchers believe this ancestral wolf group likely originated around 15,000 years ago during the last ice age. These wolves were less aggressive and more comfortable around humans than most wild wolves. They would have scavenged around human camps and gradually become integrated into human society. DNA evidence shows that dogs are more closely related to modern gray wolves than to any other similar species like coyotes or jackals. This suggests that our pet pooches came specifically from gray wolves. Other genetic studies indicate that early dogs originated from one geographically small and limited group of gray wolves somewhere in Eurasia. So while all dog breeds today are genetically diverse, their ancestry traces back to a single founding population of friendly, camp-following wolves. The first domestication of dogs from wolves was a pivotal development in human history. Dogs are the first animals known to be purposefully domesticated by humans. Early dogs helped with hunting, security, herding, and even offered companionship. From there, selective breeding focused on traits like tameness, reduced aggression, sociality with humans, and trainability. This gradually created key physical and behavioral differences between dogs and wolves. These changes didn't happen overnight. 15,000 years is about 5,000 generations of dogs. That many generations of humans would be about 140,000 years. That's almost the entire history of modern humans, or Homo sapiens, as a species. And look, it only takes about 5 to 10 generations to create a new breed of dog today, so we're really talking about quite a long time in genetic terms. So during that process of selective breeding, dogs began to undergo noticeable physical changes compared to their wolf ancestors. One major change was the size of dogs. Many early dog breeds were much smaller than wolves, and this was likely preferred by humans for practical reasons. I mean, look, smaller dogs require less food and they're much easier to control. Dog body proportions also evolved to differ from wolves. Dogs developed wider skulls, smaller teeth, and more variety in ear posture, like floppy ears. Their tails also became curlier compared to the straight, bushy tails of wolves. Coat colors and patterns in dogs expanded dramatically. Humans selectively bred dogs for unique and desirable coat colors, like spots, patches, or solids. Over thousands of years, human-driven evolution through domestication led to dogs becoming physically distinct from their wolf predecessors, in size, proportion, coat types, and more. And today, as you know, dogs can be as different as a Chihuahua and a giant Saint Bernard, but still have the same genetic roots. So sure, dogs look different from wolves, but why are dogs so much less aggressive and more playful than wolves? Before we get there, a quick pause just to say thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing to Pet Spotlight. Domestication induced some major behavioral changes that allowed dogs to become well adapted to life with humans. Dogs evolved certain behavioral traits that facilitated bonding with people. For example, increased sociability. Dogs seek out human interaction, and research shows dogs spend over 30% more time engaged in interaction than wolves in their packs. Dogs display much less aggression and reactivity than wolves. One study, for example, found domesticated dogs were nearly 4 times less likely to show aggression towards unfamiliar people. Dogs can follow human pointing and eye gaze to locate food, whereas wolves cannot. And scientists theorize this enhanced ability to read human social cues was strongly selected for during domestication. And neoteny. This term basically means keeping juvenile traits into adulthood. So dogs reach social maturity faster than wolves, but they retain some childlike traits. And this youthfulness allows them to readily form close bonds with human caretakers. There's also two super important changes that happened inside of dogs' brains too. First, their stress levels around humans decreased dramatically. Cortisol is a hormone that animals produce when they're stressed out. Wolves are naturally highly reactive and cautious as part of surviving in the wild, so researchers have found that dogs exhibit significantly lower cortisol levels in the presence of human caregivers compared to wolves with their handlers. One study tested cortisol levels in dog breeds closer and more distantly related to wolves. The wolf-adjacent dog breeds had higher cortisol production, while more modern breeds had genetic adaptations that lowered cortisol. This indicates that domesticated dogs are evolutionarily adapted to be more calm and relaxed around humans. Less cortisol also facilitates bonding and training, allowing dogs to thrive as companions. Secondly, higher oxytocin levels promoted bonding and affection with humans. Oxytocin is sometimes called the love hormone, and it's associated with social bonding in mammals. Research reveals that domesticated dogs produce oxytocin in response to positive interactions with people. Dog oxytocin levels spike during activities like petting, playing, eye contact, and snuggling with their human owners. This elevated oxytocin reinforces dogs' sense of closeness and attachment to us. Wolves, on the other hand, produce very little oxytocin except between mating pairs. But dogs readily generate this bonding hormone with human handlers and family members. Scientists believe oxytocin's role in affirming social connections was very strongly selected for during selective breeding and domestication. Its rise in dogs allowed the building of meaningful interspecies bonds that just aren't present in wolves. This evolution of dogs to wolves is a truly remarkable story. So the next time you play fetch or you get sloppy kisses from your furry friend, remember you're interacting with a partner who's been shaped over millennia to be man's best friend. Thanks for joining us here on Pet Spotlight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.